Just imagine this. You're standing in the lunch line. Someone behind you grabs your tray and shoves it out of your hands, and the whole table laughs. You laugh along too, because what else can you do? But right next to you, there's another guy, same height, same build, and honestly not even stronger than you. Nobody touches him, ever. Not once this whole year. Not a shove, not a joke at his expense, not even a dirty look. So what's the actual difference between you two? It's not his muscles, it's not his face, it's something else entirely. Something so small that almost nobody notices it happening. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what it is. Here's what nobody tells you. Bullies don't pick their targets randomly, and they definitely don't pick based on size. If that were true, every small kid in every school would get bullied, and every big kid would walk around completely untouched. But you've seen it with your own eyes. The quiet, smaller guys who nobody dares to mess with, and bigger, stronger guys who somehow get targeted every single week. Strength has almost nothing to do with it. Confidence has everything to do with it, but not the loud kind of confidence you're picturing. So stop right here if you think this video is about hitting the gym harder or bulking up. It's not, and if that's genuinely all you needed, half the internet's fitness videos would have already solved this for you. Bullies aren't reading your muscles, they're reading your signals. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people are broadcasting the wrong signals every single day without ever knowing it, without ever choosing to, just from years of habit. There's a system to this, a silent scan, that happens in about 3 seconds, before a single word is exchanged, before anyone even decides to speak to you. I call it the 3-second react. Every person you pass in a hallway runs it on you, whether they realize it consciously or not. Once you actually understand how it works, you will never walk into a room the same way again. Signal 1, entry posture. The second you walk into any room, a classroom, a hallway, a crowded bus, people are already reading your shoulders before they've even looked at your face. Rounded, caved in shoulders say one thing loud and clear. I'm bracing for something. Level shoulders, chin slightly up, relaxed arms say something completely different. This is just a room. There's nothing here to brace for. You don't need to look tough. You don't need to puff your chest out like you're posing for a photo. You need to look unbothered. That's the entire signal. And it takes less than a second to read. Signal 2. Eye behavior. This one's the biggest tell of all, and almost nobody trains it on purpose. Eyes that dart around the room, constantly checking who's watching, who's judging, who noticed you. That's a target signal, plain and simple. Eyes that move slow, steady, and land on people without flinching away first. That's a non-target signal. This isn't about staring someone down like you're trying to start something. It's simply about not being the one who looks away first. The person who looks away first is quietly telling the room who's in control of that interaction. Signal 3, reaction timing. This is the one almost nobody ever talks about, and it might be the most important one of the three. When something unexpected happens, someone bumps into you on purpose, someone makes a joke at your expense in front of everyone, the speed of your reaction matters far more than the reaction itself. An instant flinch, a nervous laugh, an immediate apology for something that clearly wasn't your fault. All of that is a green light. A half-second pause before you respond. Calm and completely unhurried. That's a red light. That tiny half-second pause is the single most underrated signal in the entire 3-second read, and almost nobody trains for it. Here's why this actually works, and it has nothing to do with psychology tricks or manifestation nonsense. This is basic threat assessment wiring that every human brain runs constantly, without permission, without you ever consciously switching it on. It's the same instinct that made our ancestors size up a stranger in 3 seconds flat, long before language existed. You've been running this scan on other people your entire life without realizing it. The only difference now is that you're learning to control what other people's brains conclude about you. And here's the mistake almost everyone makes the moment they hear all this. They try to fake it loudly. They start talking louder, standing wider, making a show of confidence for one day, and then wonder why nothing changes. That's not the 3-second read. That's a performance, and people can tell the difference between a performance and a pattern almost instantly. Loud confidence for one day gets noticed and forgotten. Quiet consistency for 30 days rewires how an entire room thinks about you permanently. Now go back to that lunch line. The guy nobody touches isn't calm because he's fearless. He's calm because his shoulders, his eyes, and his timing have quietly told everyone in that room the exact same thing for months without a single word. There's nothing here worth testing. That's not an accident. That's a signal, repeated so consistently that it became completely automatic. Here's the part people never expect. That guy in the lunch line wasn't always like this. Rewind 2 years and he was exactly where you are right now. Shoulders caved in, eyes checking the room every few seconds, first to laugh at his own expense before anyone else could get the chance. Nothing physically changed about him. What changed was slower and far less visible. One calm entrance at a time, one held pause at a time, until the pattern quietly replaced the panic completely. Nobody remembers the version of him that used to flinch, because that version simply stopped showing up long enough for people to forget it ever existed. That's really what this video is about. Not a trick you perform once for one day. A version of yourself you quietly build, repetition by repetition, until it's the only version left standing in that room. And here's the part that actually matters most. None of these three signals require you to be stronger, taller, or louder than anyone else. They require you to be consistent. One calm entrance changes absolutely nothing. Bullies aren't reading a single moment. They're reading a pattern built over weeks. But 100 calm entrances, repeated without exception, completely rewrite how a room reads you. There's one more thing worth saying, because people always ask it. What if you get it wrong on a given day? Nothing is lost. One off day doesn't undo weeks of pattern. The same way one skipped workout doesn't undo months of training. The room isn't grading you on a single moment. It's reading a trend line, and trend lines survive the occasional bad day. What ruins the pattern isn't one flinch. It's going back to flinching as your default setting. Start today. Walk into the next room like it's genuinely just a room. Hold eye contact half a second longer than actually feels comfortable to you. And the next time something catches you off guard, take that half-second pause before you react instead of flinching immediately. Picture the very next time you walk into class. Someone makes a comment aimed at you, the kind that used to make you shrink automatically. Instead of the instant flinch, you let a half-second of silence sit there first. That single pause, repeated every time for the next 30 days, is doing more work than any comeback ever could. Nobody will be able to point to what changed. They'll just stop testing you. Do this without exception for the next 30 days and watch what actually changes. Not because you got physically stronger, but because you became unreadable. And unreadable is exactly what bullies avoid. And 30 days from now, you won't be able to point to one single moment where things flipped. There won't be a dramatic showdown, no big confrontation you finally won. It'll be quieter than that. You'll just notice, one random afternoon, that nobody tried you that week. The version of you that used to brace for it will already be gone, replaced so gradually, you never even felt the switch happen. That's it for this video. If this helped you even a little bit, go ahead and like it. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. If you know someone who gets overlooked, ignored, or picked on more than they honestly deserve, send them this one. See you in the next video.